Good evening. How is everyone? On this Tuesday night, I really hope your day has gone well, has gone accordingly. If not to plan, at least God allow you to live and see another day. You was able to go to work and clock in at your 9 to 5, whether it was 8 hours, 12 hours, half a day, even 4 hours. At least you was able to generate some type of income in order to be able to pay your bills and provide for your family. So never look at it or take it as a loss. And also, people, continue to be kind to people you come across that's not kind to you. Don't wish nothing bad on them. Just say, you know what? Say, God, please forgive them, like Jesus did. Say they don't know no better. Jesus said that while they was persecuting him, mocking him, spitting on him, while he was carrying the cross, whipping him, he could have lashed out. He could have commanded legions of angels to come to his aid, but he didn't, because prophecy had to be fulfilled. That's real love. For an individual to be going through something that he did at a particular time, which he was without sin, but he had to go through that for all of us. That's real love. So when they're disrespectful and not showing you no type of compassion, they say, God, please forgive them, because they don't know no better. And believe me, leave it in his hands, because vengeance is his. As for me, I'm a little tired. Got a killer Superman workout in earlier. Whew. But you know what? I always ask God to give me the strength to be able to bring these messages to your people. And I always pour back into myself spiritually, enabling me to keep my cup full. I must do this on a daily basis, people. Not only for y'all, but for myself. I'm the only one that's living this life as an individual. No one can live it for me. So I make sure that I pour back into myself to keep myself afloat, to keep myself going. So that way, when I do hop online, that this is my platform that God has given me. This is one of my businesses, you know. But I don't look at it as all I'm doing it for money. Nah, this is done from the heart. This is done because God asked me to do this. So, since he asked me, I'm going to be obedient to him. Yeah, in the long run, it will bring some monetary value. But I'm not thinking about that right now. I'm thinking about helping the people, awakening the people, showing the people that since I'm doing it, it's not an if. I've changed, and I'm constantly evolving each and every day. So look at it as Twan's doing it. I can do it too. You can do it even better your own way. Look at it like that. So I'm going to the book of Matthew. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. And I'm come on read these scriptures. Excuse me. So please bear with me. I know a lot of people is familiar with this these scriptures. This is when Jesus was being tempted at the after his baptism, after he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, that he was led in the wilderness by the Spirit to be tempted by the devil. So that's what I'll be reading about tonight. But I'm gonna break it down to y'all. Excuse my voice. Like I tell you, I'm a little tired because that workout I did earlier. I'm drained, but there's no excuse. I'm still going to do what my God asked me to do. So please bear with me. In the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. that Jesus was led by the Spirit up into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. After he had fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, he felt hungry, and the tempter approached and said to him, "If you are a son of God, tell these stones to become loaves of bread." But he answered, "It is written, man must live not on bread alone, but on every word that comes from Jehovah's mouth." And the devil took him along to the holy city, and he stationed him on the battlement of the temple, and said to him, "If you are a son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he would give his angels a command concerning you, and they will carry you on their hand, so that you may not scratch your foot against a stone." Then Jesus said to him, "Again it is written, you must not put Jehovah your God to the test." Again the devil took him along to an unusually high mountain, and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. And he said to him, "All these things I will give you, if you fall down and do an act of worship to me." Then Jesus said to him, "Go away, Satan, for it is written, it is Jehovah your God you must worship, and it is to him alone you must render sacred service." Then the devil left him, and look, angels came and began to minister to him. So I'm going to break it down for y'all real briefly, because I know y'all have to get up and go to work in the morning, tending y'all children. So I'm trying not to be too long. I'm going to start back at verse 1. The book of Matthew chapter 4, verse 1 brings out, "Then Jesus was led by the Spirit up into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil." And verse 2 brings out, after he had fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, he felt hungry. So this is after his baptism. He had to go fast for 40 days and 40 nights. Then after that, he was led up in the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. So he was hungry. He was weak, people. But he still had the strength by the Spirit. So he had to go through this test. And verse 3 brings out, "And the tempter approached him and said to him, If you are a son of God, tell these stones to become loaves of bread." The devil already knew that he was the son of God. The devil was once in heaven before he got kicked out by God. So he knew who Jesus was, but he's so slick and sly. He tried to trick Jesus because Jesus at that time was hungry. Like I said, he was weak. He had to fast 4 days, 40 nights, so he knew he was hungry. But let me tell you how Jesus told him the word of God. I gave the word of God back to him. In the reply, in verse 4, this is what Jesus said. But he answered, "It is written, man must live not on bread alone, but on every word that comes from Jehovah's mouth." So even though he was hungry, people, he was being tempted. He didn't fall for the okie doke. He said he stayed strong. I know it was hard, but he wanted to remain faithful to God and obedient. So he said, "It is written, man must live not on bread alone, but every word that comes forth through Jehovah God's mouth." So he said bump the physical food, because he know in time he will be able to get that. But he put God first, the spiritual food. So he put the spiritual food first. He put God first and said that his physical body can wait. So he fed his spiritual self first before his physical self. That's how much faith and obedience he had, not only to God, but he wanted to remain faithful to God. Verse 5. "Then the devil took him along to the holy city, and he stationed him on the battlement of the temple." Verse 6 brings out, "And said to him, If you are a son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will give his angels a command concerning you, and they will carry you on their hands, so that you may not scratch your foot against a stone." Think about it. Like I said, people, he using scriptures too, because the devil was once in heaven, so he knows scriptures in the back of his hand. Like he said, it was written. He already know that God won't allow anything to happen to Jesus. This said Jesus would have, with what Satan said, and tested God. God would have helped him and saved him, but Jesus wasn't going to do that. He was going to put his God to the test. That's how much love he had for him. So he was going to go with what Satan said. Satan was trying to use scriptures to trick Jesus. Let me tell you what Jesus did, though. He just outsmarted Satan. in verse 7. This is what Jesus said back to Satan as a reply, people. Jesus said to him, again, it is written, you must not put Jehovah your God to the test. So he did the right thing. He didn't put his God to the test. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I used to put God to the test so much, people. I'm going to sit this Bible down for a second. My arm's so weak right now. I tell you, this workout got me tapped out. But I'm going to bring this message to y'all. Yeah, I used to put God to the test so many times, especially behind the wall. Oh man, I just put him to the test. I'm talking about just going out my way to do things wickedly, knowing that I was wrong, you know. And God used to punish me. I'm going to say punish me, he used to discipline me. Like I said, I've been disciplined so many times over, you know, and that's most testimonies I'm going to have throughout this journey with y'all, because I ain't going to take up too much of y'all time, but yeah, he used to discipline me because I was putting him to the test, and I know I was wrong. But each time he disciplined me, he did it out of love, you know, and allowed me to see where I was wrong at, where I went wrong at, and how can I make it back right with him and get back in the righteous standing and faithful with him. And each time I did, for a short period of time before I rebelled again. But anyway, I'm going back to the scriptures. Yeah, but he didn't put him to the test, so he did the right thing. You know, he remained faithful. See, verse 8, people. Again, the devil took him along to and used the high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory. This is verse 9. And he said to him, all these things I will give you if you fall down and do an act of worship to me. This is what Jesus said. Even though Satan tried to, you know, show him all the glory, you know, he's the God of the system of things. He's the God of darkness. He's the God of air. But he's the God of the system of things, you know. So he had the authority to show Jesus all these things and give him all these things. If Jesus would have fell down and do an act of worship. But let me say what Jesus said. In verse 10, Jesus said, Jesus said to him, go away, Satan, for it is written, it is Jehovah your God you must worship, and it is to him alone you must render sacred service. And the devil left him, and look, angels came and began to minister to him. So he didn't fall down and do an act of worship to the devil. That's what the devil wanted. He you know, even though he was tempting him, Jesus didn't fall for it. He remained faithful to God, you know. So he only person he rendered sacred service to his God. You know, like I tell you, I used to be of darkness. Before I got anointed, people, I used to be of darkness. For the ones that knew me, the old me, version of me, used to be around me. They used to be quiet, like I said, I used to be sneaky, but I was of darkness. You know what I mean? But God allowed me to go through that season, them different seasons. So now I'm able to come back and tell y'all. I mean, like I say, I ain't got nothing to hide. I'm able to come back and tell y'all how I used to be in so many words. Like I said, I have a lifetime of stories in my mind. I don't have to write nothing down because I lived that. I've been there and done that. You know, in the time, throughout this journey, I'll be telling y'all different things. You know what I mean? This the first step right now. You know what I mean? I ain't even scratching the surface right now. But anyway, he didn't fall down and do an act of worship to him. He remained faithful to God. So that's a learning lesson for us to live by. Because we're going to be tested. You tested each and every day. I mean, you tested by different people. Things that come your way. You know what I mean? Like I said, it could be a job loss. Marriage going bad. If you're not married, you might be engaged on the way you get married. That could go bad. You know, people just doing the smear campaign in your name. Something got stolen from you. Your bank account got emptied out because unfortunately a scammer or a fraudulent person got hold to your account and drain your bank account. I'm just going off the top of my head. You might have a food truck and have employees, but you're not around because you're managing the other food truck to make sure everything's going right. But this person that you have in charge of this food truck, you know, the money's not coming out right. You know what I mean? You know, if you might be smart with math, you might not have an accountant. You might be your own accountant. You know what I mean? And the books ain't coming up right with this food truck. So kind of find this person been stealing from you the whole time. There's certain little things, anything can go wrong. It's how you respond to, how you go about dealing with it in a proper manner. Because, like I said, you can bust this person's head open. That'd be wrong. No, you go about firing this individual and having the necessary paperwork to prove that he or she been stealing from you, and then taking to court, sue him, and then get your money back. That's the proper way. You know what I mean? That's what God would want you to do, versus you doing it the devil way, which is hurting the individual. Then you gonna end up locked up. You know what I mean? So, it's always two ways to skin a cat. But when y'all get a chance, please go back over the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. Like I said, pray and ask God to help open up your eyes and give you a more clear understanding. I love all y'all. Take care. I appreciate all my listeners, everybody who showed me love, support, and who dropped comments for me and everything like that. I keep all y'all in my prayers daily and consistently. They ain't gonna stop. Make sure you have Bible time with your children too, and your significant one. Y'all can do that as a family. Until we meet again, I love all y'all. Peace.